So we're here tonight at Brandon Theaters watching Kingsmen, The Secret Service. First of all, I have to say, this movie is going to be by far, right now, I know the year's young, my favorite movie of the year. This movie was outstanding. It was one of those movies that delivers stuff to you to where if you don't take it too seriously, it becomes serious enough for you to care about it. The story was good, the characters were good, the writing was phenomenal, the action was there. Why can't these other action movies ditch this shaky cam and actually do what this movie does? Because there are some scenes in this movie where you get to see a fight many times, and it's not like here's a punch and then it cuts to something else. I mean, you see it, all of it, the choreograph of it. I liked that. That to me was a real change up in movies and how they usually are, where it's like, shaky camera, keep up with me, what's going on? And like 5 minutes, like, I don't know what just happened there. Like, that guy died, I think, I don't know. This movie also has comedy sprinkled up the whole thing. Some parts are serious, some parts are comedy, and then they do this thing where something serious happens and then right after they throw a comedic thing into it. It's like John Wick. John Wick comes around and you're like, I don't know about that, and then you watch it like, dude, John Wick's fucking amazing. This movie's the same thing. Amazing. I have zero complaints with it, to be completely honest with you. It's one of those movies where I go in and I'm like, this is a great movie. I enjoy it. I hope they make a sequel, and I'm not one for sequels. This one, I think, if they do a sequel and they do kind of the same thing, but up the stakes, I'm gonna enjoy that. And they do such a great job with the actor, especially Samuel L. Jackson. Who would have thought that he could pull off this super smart guy, and then like he doesn't like violence, but his end game is violent. Michael Caine's in this, and when he's in any type of movie, big part or small part, you know it's gonna be good. Just a great movie. Mark Strong kills it. He doesn't play his normal badassery. He's kind of like a Poindexter, you would say, but a different kind of Poindexter. He's like, dude. Colin Firth, great actor. Every time he was on screen, I'm like, shut up, don't talk to me. I want to listen to this guy. I like the dynamic that he had going. Almost kind of like the gentleman is a ninja, you would say, because they're in, they're out. But the persona of the suit. It's a great movie. I want to like go watch it again right now and just watch it, then we can talk in person about it. One thing I will say, think of this movie like James Bond, but it meets Kick-Ass. Put those two together, and you're in for quite the treat, because that's a good analogy I can give it. I'm going to give this movie a solid 10 out of 10. It is a go-see, must-own, Blu-ray, have it, done. To see last week's review, go ahead and click that logo down here in the corner to see what the other Kingsmen Secret Service agents had to say. Let's check that out.
It was a fantastic movie. I can't help but feel like I'm witnessing a rebirth of the action movie. With John Wick and Kingsmen, we're seeing a new way of making action movies. It reminds me of the old school action movies where you were meant to go enjoy yourself. You weren't supposed to take it 100% serious. It wasn't like the fate of everything is at stake on this movie outcome. And they just spend the whole movie trying to convince you that everything rides on this movie. And because they try so hard to convince you that this is so important, you just don't care. They kind of have this, yes, we're going to take it seriously, but at the same time, we're not going to take it seriously. We know what we're making. It's an action movie. We're well aware of why you're here to see an action movie, or this action comedy movie in this case. And we're just going to ride that. We're not going to push it. I like that. They took a lot of risks with this movie, not only with the characters and the premise, but also with the casting choices and the unorthodox way that some of the action scenes were filmed, and I think it all paid off. It reminded me of, and we had talked about this before we started filming, it reminded me of Guardians of the Galaxy in the way that it was tongue-in-cheek and kind of silly, but at the same time, it took its action seriously enough and its plot seriously enough where the balance was perfect. I've been thinking since we got out of the movie, and I honestly can't think of a better fight scene than the one that happens about a little after midway through this movie. To me, it was mind-blowing. Everything about it, from beginning to end, was just, I could not look away. I was just fixated on it.
I really liked this film. It was very action-packed. It was very, very comical in a way, and it was actually very fun to watch. There is a lot about this movie that just takes you through a loop. I mean, not just like a loop like, oh, that was kind of a roller coaster ride. No, this thing was like, hey, there's a left turn. Oh, that's right. I mean, it just totally does opposites on it. And it really was a good thing. I mean, it really had its parts where you were just like, oh, we know what's gonna happen. No, it didn't. And that's what, made the movie, really. The comedy in it, I guess you could say, wasn't really, you weren't expecting it to be that funny. And then it was. And it was just really good. Especially towards the end. Not gonna spoil alert. Very funny, though.
I expected to be your typical James Bond film with a little comedy thrown in. It took me on it's like one of those roller coasters you expect to go gentle up and down, sideways this way and we're back. Instead, I go loop the loops constantly, up, down, woo, woo, woo. I gotta say, Samuel Jackson, no one else could have played the role that he played. He did it so spectacularly. And I'm disappointed the film didn't come out earlier because I'm sure it would have gotten a couple of Oscar nods. Maybe not for Best Picture, but maybe for Best Supporting Actor, Samuel Jackson, because he did a phenomenal job. The music, too, I wish I could remember who did the music because the music stood out for me.
It's like
as
a
well.
new guy.
It was spectacular. It was great. The music kept me emotionally invested in the situation because the music really helps draw me in. The music tells a story about how you should be feeling, and the music really made me care. It made me feel, okay, this is big. The stakes were getting higher and higher as the movie was progressing, and I thought it couldn't get any bigger than this, and it just gets bigger and bigger. Like, oh, holy crap! And the mind-blowing ending was just not something I expected. It borderline on Quentin Tarantino style. And Colin Firth, he won who's an Academy Award winner for the movie The King's Speech. Goes from that sort of movie to this sort of movie, and he really, I think he's got a lot of potential, and I think it hasn't been fully used yet. I think there's so much he can do, and I feel like I can see so much more from this guy. He can be a king with a stutter, to a secret agent who can kick ass. What else could he do? I'm wondering. Let's put him to work. Put him to work, you Brits, or us American shits. Let's put them to work. So I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. The reason for that missing one, because it's not the best movie I've ever seen in my life. When I see a movie that I think is the best movie I've ever seen in my life, then I will give it a perfect score. Here's 2015. We'll see what happens.
I give this bad boy an 8.5. I enjoyed it a lot, and I really, really, really think a lot of you should go see it. I would almost give this but I give it an 8.5.
I give this a 10, and the reason I give it a perfect score is because this movie is an experience, and not enough movies are like that anymore. You come out of the movie and you're like, I like this part, I like that part. Very seldomly do you come out of the movie saying, I enjoyed this movie from the moment it started to the moment it ended. And I can't honestly think of any point in that movie where I rolled my eyes, where I broke immersion, where I kind of went, that was a bad choice. And I'm pretty overcritical of movies, and I can't think of one point in that movie where I thought that. I enjoyed that ride completely. It is a great experience. I hope they make another one.
If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Like this video, favorite it, share it, like us on Facebook. What is your favorite classic spy film? Down there in the bottom. There's a lot of them. You know, we got James Bond, things of that nature. Go ahead and shoot that down there below. And as always, we're letting you know before you go, at Brendan Theaters. I don't know who that is. Well, I know who he was, but I don't know what else he's been in. Colin Firth? Colin Firth?
Colin Firth.
Firth.
F-I-R. I don't know how big, and boy, it got big. Yeah, I know, that's what she said.
It's like you just...
It's like I read your mind.
I wasn't even going to say that. I was just listening to you review, because everyone is...
Listening to my review, thank you.
Yeah, because the stakes were getting higher and higher as the movie was progressing. You can be heterosexual and have a lisp.
That's true. I probably won't put
Did you ever watch The Brady Bunch? The little girl in there, she had a...
The f***'s the Brady Bunch? You remember that line?